Chairman, Neil Mitchell. In 2010, I fully briefed Sir Philip Hampton and Stephen Hester on the dangers of possible misconduct by RBS GRG. The full briefings were fully and totally ignored. 2 years later, I stood in this very place at the AGM in 2012 and warned the entire board of the possible systemic, institutionalised misconduct and possibility of corporate fraud. I asked the then Chairman and Chief Executive at the time to investigate GRG, to notify the regulator of a possible systemic failing, or resigned. They took none of those three actions. Instead, the denials and the cover-up of GRG atrocities continued. And in that 8-year period, we've had over 30,000 British businesses targeted and destroyed. We've had tens, if not hundreds of thousands of British jobs lost, and we have had dozens of suicides. I have a file of suicide notes that one day I will share that completely and utterly blame this bank for these unnecessary deaths. You also face specific allegations of corporate manslaughter that are currently under investigation by Police Scotland. Again, I can provide details of those. What you failed, Mr. Chairman, to notify the shareholders is that the S166 report that was leaked, and we brute forced the Treasury Select Committee to force the FCA to actually officially release it after 10 delays over 18 months, said that its findings were widespread, systemic, deliberate, coordinated and intentional strategy directed by senior management, known about or ought to have been known about by the board. I and others have subsequently now provided the Treasury Select Committee, the Bank of England Governor, the CEO of the FCA and the Treasury with 4 submissions that outline the extent to the whitewash, because the real report and the real detail is 1,000 times worse. And we will show statistically and through evidence the terms of reference, the methodology, the case sampling, the case presentation, and the results are 351 pages of utter whitewash. So here we go again. And the reason I'm speaking 6 years on is that the denials and the hiding is... You have not notified the regulator. You have not notified the Treasury, who have announced this week an intent to bring forward the share sale. What you haven't notified anybody ever is the extent of RBS's global, hint in the name, restructuring group activities globally. So now that I can inform you that you are very shortly facing impending multi-billion-dollar euro and pound claims, starting in the US, then Germany, and then other jurisdictions that are fully prepared and will be launched in the summer of 2018, you are misrepresenting the bank's performance, you're misrepresenting your solvency, and you absolutely cannot be liaising with the Treasury and the regulator to allow this share sale to go forward. So I ask you today, will you draw to the attention of the regulator that you now have a second possible systemic failing in relation to GRG globally? Simple answer, yes or no. Reminding you, you do have a fiduciary and a regulatory duty to inform the regulator.
Thank you. The regulator, the relevant regulator, the FCA, is continuing its own investigation into the GRG. The Section 166 report, as you know, was a report to the regulator, not a report by the regulator. And the regulator itself is continuing its investigations, looking at accountability and responsibility. So there is no question that the regulator has complete access to any information files that they want. And while that investigation continues, it's not possible for me to comment on what it might produce. No, I don't have any comment to make on that.